Front Row MMA here at the UK MMA Expo, Event City, Manchester, and we're fortunate enough to be joined by Dr. Rosi, Sexton, UFC fighter and pioneer for not just women's mixed martial arts, but mixed martial arts in the UK. First, I just want to talk about the Expo. Why are events like this important for MMA in the UK?
I think it's a great opportunity for fans to have the opportunity to come and interact with the fighters and to get together to promote the sport as well. I think it's been great to get out there to see some of the different events, to watch the grappling, for example, and all the, obviously all the different stalls, and talk to people about the sport.
How important is that relationship with the fans face to face? Because I've seen, people have been talking to you, coming up to you, asking for pictures. How important is fostering that relationship?
I think it's very important. I think interacting with the fans and speaking to them. I think it's. It means a lot to me as a fighter to see how much people do care about watching the fights, watching their favourite fighters, and the support I've had personally as well. The number of people who've come up to me and said, "Oh, that was a great fight, fantastic." It means a lot to me. And I think as well, it means a lot to the fans to be able to go up to them, shake hands, maybe get a picture, have a few words.
What other sport is so fan accessible? It seems to me that every fighter here, they want to foster that relationship. And I think you came and you did a seminar today and you talked about women in combat sports. And obviously, we don't want to redo the seminar because that's we just video it and make money off it. But if you could give us a taste of what the conversations entailed. And
there were a lot of conversation, a lot of questions about the issues women face going into combat sports. The question about, do you encounter much sexism, things like that. Also the questions of our experiences. How did you get involved in the sport? How do you find it? Things like that. So I think there were quite a wide range of different questions, from different people.
When you got involved in MMA, and again, I say the word pioneer without trying to be in any way, shape, or form aging anybody, but you've been around since almost the beginning. Are you surprised at the evolution the sport has made since you started?
Yes, definitely. I think when I started, nobody really knew what mixed martial arts was. You talk to people about the sport and they'd look at you blankly. If you said mixed martial arts to pretty much anyone, they'd go, "Oh yeah, my son does karate." It's a bit like that. Not quite, but nowadays, there's a lot of people who do follow the sport, who do understand the sport. Who maybe follow the UFC. So I think it's becoming much better known. Media, and along with that, a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have been interested in the sport 10 years ago are now starting to get involved.
What's it going to take for the mainstream in the UK to pick up and embrace the sport? Michael Bisping and Andy Ogle appeared on Radio 5 Live about 6 months ago with Mark Goddard, who talked a little bit about Safe MMA. You've recently, just before your fight in Canada, you've been on. This is an internet. This is a huge national radio station, but surely we need more. And how do we go about getting it?
I think a lot of it comes down to the media and what the media choose to cover. I think media cover things that they think people will be interested in, and to some extent in the UK I think we've struggled a little bit. The BBC have quite often said that they're not really that interested in mixed martial arts, and that's been a bit of an issue. It's maybe held it back a little bit. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens from August when the new BT Sport channel takes over the UFC broadcasting, because I think my feeling is that they really want to push it, and we might see a bit of growth in the sport then. Obviously that's just the UFC, but I think there is a trickle-down effect from that. People who are watching the UFC who then get interested in the sport and then go online and find out more.
It's funny because I was going to interrupt and ask, is there any danger that people associate the sport with the UFC, or right now is because that's the standard to which everybody wants to, whether you're a promoter, a fighter, everyone is it? But is it necessarily a bad thing that that's all we associate? It's like Kleenex. It's a brand. MMA is the sport.
I think there are a lot of fans who just follow the UFC. They're not particularly mixed martial arts fans, they're UFC fans. And I think because of the way that the UFC is marketed and promoted, and obviously the amount of work they've done in getting to that position, I think that's to some extent inevitable that some people will see it that way. But I think people who are interested in the sport and then start finding out more, I think will then often start finding out about these other shows, sort of UK mixed martial arts as a whole, particularly people who want to get involved themselves and start training. You know, that's sort of the next step for many of these people. So a certain number will get involved in UK mixed martial arts as a whole. Whether it's a good or a bad thing, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's pros and cons to having a situation like that. You know, I think without the work that UFC had done, you know, the sport wouldn't be where it is today. So I think it's hard to sort of begrudge them that position, if you like. You know, and obviously, you know, that's led to a lot of opportunities for fighters such as myself. So
yes, of course.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah.
You know,
you just described yourself as a fighter, but I think it's and this is going to sound so totally suck ass, so I apologize. But you're more of a Renaissance Roman Wehrli because you're a fighter, you're a trainer, but now you're involved with the Safe MMA, which is, you know, probably one of the best things to happen in British MMA in the past 5 years. Can you tell us a little bit about your involvement with Safe MMA and what the next steps are for that?
I think, Safe MMA originally started as an initiative between a small group of people who got together to talk about how we could improve the safety of the sport in this country. And the main thing that was being discussed was the fact that for a lot of shows there's no medical supervision of fighters, or there wasn't at that point. You know, only a handful of shows were even doing blood tests for the fighters. You know, I think you had Cage Warriors and maybe a small number of others, but you know, there was no such thing as medical suspensions, for example, so a fighter could fight on Saturday night, get knocked out, and then be fighting again somewhere else on the Sunday. And obviously this is a huge problem in terms of fighter safety, and there was nothing in place to stop that. So the idea with Safe MMA is that it was going to be a voluntary system of regulation, and they would take care of the medical registration and databasing of fighters' medical status. So all the blood test results, GP medical, and all the post-fight medical results would be fed through to that database, which promoters could then access to see whether a fighter was safe to fight on a particular card. And I think it started out with 3 of the major promotions: Cage Warriors, MMA, and BAMA, and since then several others have joined up, and I think it's still growing. So obviously the next step now is to get more of the shows on board, to get them more involved, and to really try and sort of push this out to as much of the mixed martial arts community as possible, so that they can take advantage of this.
Is it just about pushing it out towards the mixed martial arts community, or is there parts of the medical community?
To really try and sort of push this out to as much of the mixed martial arts community as possible, so that they can take advantage of this.
Is it just about pushing it out towards the mixed martial arts community, or is there parts of the medical community?
To really try and sort of push this out to as much of the mixed martial arts community as possible, so that they can take advantage of this.
Is it just about pushing it out towards the mixed martial arts community, or is there parts of the medical community?
To really try and sort of push this out to as much of the mixed martial arts community as possible, so that they can take advantage of this.
Is it just about pushing it out towards the mixed martial arts community, or is there parts of the medical community?
To really try and sort of push this out to as much of the mixed martial arts community as possible, so that they can take advantage of this.
Is it just about pushing it out towards the mixed martial arts community, or is there parts of the medical community?
To really try and sort of push this out to as much of the mixed martial arts community as possible, so that they can take advantage of this.
Is it just about pushing it out towards the mixed martial arts community, or is there parts of the medical community? We need a commission. It's fixed. Realistically, how much time do we need to let pass for this to embed? Is this a matter of years?
Yeah, I think one of the things is people don't see all the groundwork that went into the setting up of Safe MMA. It's not something that just suddenly appeared overnight. Before anything was announced, there was probably maybe 18 months of discussions and work done to get it to a stage where it was ready to launch, and then after the launch there was a lot of fine-tuning that needed to be done. I think we're now at a stage where things are starting to become a lot more streamlined, and things are are now getting to say, well, we've got something that would be workable on a large scale with more promotions.
And as a fighter, you must be doing this because you believe in it, you believe that it's going to be helping others. Does it take any time away from your training? How do you balance doing everything that you tend to do within MMA?
In terms of balancing things, I really have no idea. I think my life has a certain amount of chaos in it. I think I try and prioritise so that obviously if I've got a fight coming up, then I pay more attention to that, and some of these other things take a back seat for a little while. I mean, with Safe MMA, there's a lot of very good people working on that. I think I've played a fairly minor role in terms of the actual setting up and administration of these things. There's people who've done a lot more work than I have there, and obviously, I need to give them that credit. I think, I'm proud to have been involved in a small way, but like I say, I think credit needs to go to the people who've done the bulk of the work there.
I'll ask you one more question, ma'am, and then I'll let you go. I appreciate how free you've been with your time. We've got an event coming up, October 26th, Manchester. Unless there's something, how bad would you like to appear on that card in front of English fans? And can you even undersell that at all?
I would love that opportunity.
I know Dana watches this.
Yeah.
And why? I mean.
Yeah. I've never actually fought in my hometown. I live in Manchester. I live down the road from the arena. This would be enormous for me. And I mean to fight on a UFC card. I mean anywhere in the UK, but in Manchester or all places. That would be. Like I say, I mean it would be a dream come true. I know I've been using that phrase a lot recently, but it really would. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I hope that can happen. I know there's a lot of considerations that go into putting together a fight card, and there's no guarantees in this game. But
so if we started a public, a social media campaign to get Rosi Sexton on the Manchester card of the UFC, you'd be in Front Row MMA's debt in some small way? I never get him to answer that one. Rosi, again, I appreciate the time that you've spent with us, but before we let you go, is there anyone you would like to shout out or any sponsors you'd like to name?
I've always got a whole long list when this question comes up.
I always get told I should have asked them before so they could plan it. Sorry.
Yeah. The best thing is if you check out my blog, I have a list of post-UFC thank yous on my blog. That would be fantastic. To give you a brief rundown, there's all my coaches, my team at Next Generation Mixed Martial Arts, Coach Paul Rimmer, Peter Irving. There's my official sponsors were Rev Gear, Fear the Fighter, and Talk MMA. PhD Nutrition also helped me out a lot. Funky Gums Mouth Guards, Rock Tape UK, my strength and conditioning guys at Strength and Performance, Mike Lang, who handles my nutrition for me, and there's a bunch of guys that I've not mentioned. So if you check out that blog, that would be awesome.
Fighters all the time. I'm sorry, Rosi. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure to chat with you, and we hope we see you in October 26th, rocking it at Manchester Arena.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. That would be great.
Thank you.